Mic check, can you hear me all right? The lapel mic seems to be working. Welcome, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're happy to have you here. Welcome to our distinguished students, many of whom are here on my right, audience left. Welcome to our judges that are here participating, and the members of the audience that are here from the general public. We're happy that you're here today for our FutureSolvers Cultivation Challenge 2025. Excited to be here in this installment of this event. We've done it in the past, but excited to expand it a little bit this year. So you'll have a little bit different view than we've had in the past, but looking forward to this opportunity. My name is Aaron Budge. I am here on campus at Minnesota State University Mankato as the Executive Director of the School of Applied Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources, hence my involvement with this opportunity in multiple roles actually. So we want to welcome you this afternoon to this event. First of all, we're going to, I'll kind of give an outline of what the program will involve today. We're going to first invite Director of Green Seam, Sam Ziegler, to come forward and give a little bit of background on what this competition is all about, what we're hoping to accomplish through this event from year to year. Then we'll introduce our judges, along with the teams that will be here one by one, and then each team will come up and give their pitch. So with that, we'll pass it along to Sam to share a few updates relative to Green Seam. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. Good afternoon and happy Friday. With the weather, it's great to see you guys inside, not outside. So Green Seam Future started just a couple years ago to really connect students and businesses and the real world opportunities. And so the FutureSolvers program came out of the idea of how do we have a competition to solve some challenges in the food and ag and rural community space, but how to give the ability of freedom for you all as students to come up with your own ideas and not to be really narrow focused. And so we've had a couple different opportunities last year and now this one this year, which we'll get to hear your pitches about, of some of the rural economy challenges we have and how do we grow that, as well as how do we be innovative in regards of solving some bigger challenges within the sciences side. And so we're a small board and a small foundation, but that is able to provide dollars and idea generation like this. So thank you for students participating, and thank you those in the audience that have donated. Really appreciate it. Back to you, Aaron.
Thank you, Sam. We appreciate Green Seam and the Green Seam Futures Group for definitely getting behind this from year to year and encouraging the opportunities to connect students with the realities of the world today and coming up with solutions, hence the FutureSolvers Challenge. So next, we would like to introduce our judges. Certainly have taken time away from their very busy schedules to be part of this event. We've had judges both involved with earlier phases of the competition along with the current phase. So you'll find biographies in your program, so hopefully you clicked on the QR code as you were coming through the door to see the full biographies of each individual. But we'll just have them maybe give a wave as I introduce them. First of all, Gary Cook from Christensen Farms. Thank you, Gary. Heather Dilgis from Ide Bailey. Thank you, Heather. Nicholas Magley from GAT Farms. Ryan Erickson from AGCO. And Steve Haley from CHS. Thank you for the judges for their being here today. Moving on to the reason that we're here. Help me in welcoming our finalists. Again, there are 3 finalists from each track, but there were multiple teams from around the region that were involved. And so these are the top 3 teams based on that initial round of evaluation. So the top 3 have been invited to give their pitches today. Others, I think, are also here in the crowd for some of the other projects that were proposed that were not selected as finalists, but we appreciate their attendance as well. So first of all, and I don't know all of them will necessarily be back because a few of them are backstage here ready to go, but the first group is the business track, so looking more at the business development side. Business track finalists, the AgriPath Academy team, which I think is behind the screen here, right? The Minnesota Farm and Flavor team. You in the crowd, if you are, raise your hands. They're probably here around the corner as well. And then the Revive Rural team. There they are. So 2 teams on, or 1 team ready to come up to bat, 1 on deck and 1 in the following spot. The new track, so this is the track that has just been developed this year, is more focusing on the technology side. So we call it a STEM track, science, technology, engineering, math, to be able to look at some of the technological opportunities in addition to the business-related opportunities relative to our agricultural sector. So the STEM track teams, probably all of which are here in the back, number one is the Hops Harvester team. So Hops Harvester, there we go. The LoraNet team, and lastly, the Open Soil team. So all three teams there in the back in the shadows. So thank you all for being here. We're looking forward to your presentations today. I know a few of these groups because several of them are from Minnesota State University, Mankato. Others are not. But I know the time and effort it takes to develop these proposals, to work through the presentation, to set up the video that was submitted for the first round, to be here today to give a fairly high stakes presentation for the prize dollars that are available for us. So thank you all, for all of the teams, for the efforts that you've made to be here today. So with that, we will introduce the first group, the AgriPath Academy. So coming on out from Gustavus Adolphus College is Timothy Rios, Jonah Briel, and Ama Tufor. So, AgriPath Academy, take the stage, and good luck.
Hello, we're at AgriPath Academy. My name is Timothy Rios. I'm a junior business management major. And just a little quick story about how we got this idea as a team. So we actually got inspiration from my little brother. He didn't want to take the traditional college route, but he also wanted a reliable career path. So he went to this trade school and was able to graduate with a HVAC certification. So we were thinking, why not introduce that into the agricultural world?
My name is Ama Tufor. I am a senior economics major. We had the opportunity to learn about the food and the agricultural sector here in southern Minnesota, and we discovered that there was a labor gap. And so our goal with AgriPath is really to address this issue while benefiting both an employer and possibly a future employee.
Yeah, so our mission at AgriPath is to empower the next generation of agricultural leaders by providing them with hands-on training, leadership development, and an innovative mindset. We want to equip our students with the skills, knowledge, and real-world experience for them to thrive in their future careers. So we'll be taking you through the experience of AgriPath through our two students, Jake and Maria. So Jake is currently a high school senior that is undetermined about what he wants to do with his future. He loves being outdoors and likes working with his hands.
Maria is a recent high school graduate who had the opportunity to work at her parents' construction company, which just so happened to expand into barn framing. And during this experience, Maria fell absolutely in love with agricultural lifestyle, and in the future, she hopes to apply her creativity and her skills and innovation to make an impact in the industry.
Yeah, so before we dive into the details, let me tell you about some of our goals. We want to introduce a 12-week-long summer program that exposes our students to the overview of the food and agriculture industry while finding them possible career paths and opportunities. This will hopefully make students feel more inclined to live and stay in rural southern Minnesota. So looking at our curriculum here, week one is basically like a college orientation. This will include team building, self-assessments, and finding possible areas of interest. Week two will include a broad exposure of many types of businesses. The students will be taking on-site job tours like places like farms and manufacturing plants. This is to provide a broad but high-level overview of the agricultural industry. Weeks 5 through 8 is really when they dive into their personal interest with areas, and they get hands-on training and able to get job shadowing opportunities. And weeks 9 to 12 is all about making sure the students have found the right fit for themselves and continue their training until they finalize their foundation for the future. So we will offer a bunch of different topics like farming all the way to the business side to the mechanical works of agriculture.
Now, why is AgriPath so important? How can it really benefit everyone? 55% of high school graduates or high school students have really no plan of attending college, and they're also unsure of how to build their careers if they don't go to college. At the same time, there's a shortage of workers in the agricultural industry. AgriPath gives companies the opportunity to tap into an undiscovered talent and to really equip this said talent with the integrated skills that they need to maximize shareholder value, to increase productivity, to drive innovation, and to make an impact in the community and beyond. It also gives rural colleges the opportunity to earn revenue during the summer months. It allows them to help with the coordination of the program. At the same time, there's a lot of talent that's going to be passing through the program. So hey, the college could also benefit from using the students that are going through this. Yeah.
So taking a look at Jake's story, Jake decided to join AgriPath and was really unclear about his future. But after learning about multiple topics like mechanics and agricultural technology, through his real-world job experience, he was able to find a future in agricultural technician.
Let's talk a little bit more about Maria. Maria is passionate about leadership, she's passionate about sustainability, and she wants to make a difference in the world. At Agritech, she's able to learn skills in business and leadership. She's also able to go through mentorship, and she gets the opportunity to network. This sets Maria apart. She's even also exposed to AI technology and the possibilities of it being implicated in the agricultural sector. At the end of the program, Maria becomes a perfect candidate for future open roles at Green Seam, and who knows, she might even become the next innovative director. There's a growing demand for skilled workers in the agricultural sector, and also there's a search for innovative leaders. Agriculture isn't dying, it's evolving, and companies are in search of, and they need new talent that could help with the advancement of technology and innovation. AgriPath will create job-ready talent who are prepared to step up when the business need arises.
Yeah, so taking a look at the overall impact and vision of AgriPath can really be seen through Jake and Maria's stories. So before AgriPath, they were really unsure about their futures and what they wanted to do for their careers. But after AgriPath, Jake became a skilled agricultural technician, and Maria now leads change in sustainable farming. So AgriPath creates opportunities by providing real-world training, mentorships, and industry connections to young adults. We would like to think of AgriPath in more than just a training program, but more of a pathway to open doors to create futures for young professionals. AgriPath bridges the labor gap while strengthening rural communities and empowers the next generation of agricultural leaders. So you may ask how much this will cost us. So assuming we had the $5 million loan, phase one will be a part of our planning and partnership phase, where we will secure partnerships with agricultural businesses, local farms, and industry sponsors. We will then hire an executive director to be in charge of our staff personnel. Getting everything started in year one will cost around $200,000. Phase two will be whenever we first launch our program and we find out what we need to critique in our initial plan. After a year, after phase two, we would start around phase three and be focused on growth and expansion. We would hopefully better our curriculum and reach more young adults. And by year 5, we would have a profit of $200,000 from tuition and industry sponsorships. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, AgriPath Academy crew. Thank you to the team from Gustavus. Appreciate them being here today. Next up, from Minnesota State University Mankato, the Minnesota Farm and Flavor team. Megan Cumming, Josh Wolf, Morgan Robinson, and Zach Ruger. Come on up, team. You're next to present. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Budge. We are Minnesota Farm and Flavor, inspired to help local businesses in the area. My name is Morgan Robinson, and we are all seniors here at Minnesota State University Mankato, and I'm studying agribusiness.
My name is Zach Ruger. I am majoring in marketing. I'm also a senior, and I'm the chief marketing officer of our company.
My name is Megan Cumming. I'm a junior here at MNSU studying agribusiness and food innovation, and I am the chief executive officer of the company.
My name is Josh Wolf. I'm a senior here at Minnesota State. I'm studying finance, and I'm the chief financial officer here at Minnesota Farm and Flavor.
So a little bit about our mission. It's to create a new kind of modern farm experience. The vision is to be the go-to place for a gourmet food and stay. A little bit about the business. So you can see the picture here on the top right is what a garden might look like, where we'll grow fresh fruits and vegetables. And we will also have 2 greenhouses on the property to grow foods during those cold Minnesota winters, which we all know what those are like. And you can see a picture of what the barn might look like here on the top left, and a picture of what one of the lodge rooms might look like as well too. A slogan that we say here is authentic farm and authentic flavor. We plan to be a unique, immersive getaway from those looking to get away from the city life for the weekend. We will have an on-site farm-to-table organic restaurant. We will have hands-on activities for the community to come and see. Some example products of foods that we may have is a sunrise harvest frittata with fresh farm eggs. On the top right, we may have some berry patch pancakes with fresh maple syrup. And you can see here on the bottom, a Minnesota wild rice and root vegetable bowl. Yum. And lastly, an Applewood smoked pork loin with apple chutney. And now I'll be turning over to Megan.
Thank you very much, Morgan. I don't know about you all, but I'm pretty hungry now myself. Moving on to the barn, we have an estimated cost of $303,000, and we estimated that about $40 per square foot. Based on our floor plan, you can see we have a variety of different stall spaces, as well as tack rooms, a small kitchenette, and a bathroom for our guests to enjoy. On the bottom, there's a graph that states the animals that we plan on housing in our barn. And the idea behind this is we kind of want half of our animals to be used for that farm-to-table purpose, and the other half of our animal inventory is going to be used for an educational purpose for our guests to learn more about animal nutrition, welfare, and health. Moving on to the lodge and restaurant, our estimated cost for the restaurant is going to be roughly $160,000, and we estimated that at $160 per square foot. For our lodge, we estimated that at $1.4 million at an estimated $200 per square foot. Based on our floor plan below, we plan on having 6 single bed bedrooms, 4 double bed bedrooms, and 1 suite room that will have 2 twin beds and 1 queen bed for that ultimate family experience. With the pictures on the right here, we have some ideas of how we want to design our barn and our lodge space. We're kind of going for more of that rustic farmhouse chic, as well as that Minnesota charm to really draw in people to rural Minnesota. Moving on to our industry competition, majority of our competition is going to come from rural retreats and experience-based travel packages, as well as following in agritourism and other restaurants who also implement that farm-to-table experience. Some things that will set us apart from our competitors is going to be our higher premium costs, because we do offer that higher premium quality of goods and services to our clients. With being located 30 minutes away from the cities, we really want to draw in people who live in that city and that urban life so that they can really experience that rural experience and really get the most out of it. We'll be offering different canning classes, gardening classes, and different culinary lessons as well, to really give our customers more of that rural experience and to learn some more things about agriculture. And now I'll be passing it along to Zach, who will be going over more of our marketing strategy.
Yes, thank you so much, Megan. Those are some great points. So yes, how will our project integrate with and complement already existing agricultural activities? First off, collaborating with local farmers. You know, we can't produce everything that we are going to be offering. we are going to want to get that from local farmers. On the same level as that, promoting local source. We really want to hammer home going local to get any of your produce, any of your needs, and just supporting local communities. On the other side of that, agritourism and education, you know, we are going to be a great spot to come in, learn more about agriculture. We're going to be offering classes for canning, for gardening, for cooking. It's going to be a great educational opportunity. On those same lines with community engagement, it will be a great spot for us to host events. You know, you can bring a company outing down to learn more about agriculture, or even school events to educate the youth more about what we offer. And now let's get into some of the marketing. So yes, of course, the 4 P's of marketing with our products and our services. You know, we have great experiences, great food, great accommodations, and it all bundles together to just offer so much value to everyone who comes here. You know, we're all about value to our consumers. Also, for the price, we do have premium pricing like Megan touched on, and with that, we do have incentivized package deals. So you can come down, spend the weekend, spend a week, you know, enjoy everything we have to offer, and you get really good value out of that. For promotions, we will be using the latest and greatest in sustainable technologies to best promote Minnesota Farm and Flavor. Whether online or in person, we will be also pairing with locals in the area to best get our name out there. As for the place, we of course do have our on-site restaurant and bed and breakfast, as we will also be hosting an online store where you can go and distribute some of our products. A lot of offerings in the marketing department. Then lastly, I'll touch on this. So as we've gone over our strengths, you know, we are a very unique experience, getting to come down, experience stuff, learn where your food is coming from, and we have great opportunities in the agritourism spectrum. We also have identified a weakness of potential higher prices. But, you know, there may be some consumers who are a bit skeptical, but the value you get is worth the price that you will be paying. And we feel if we can get that across to people, it'll incline them more to come down. For threats, as we all know, the economy, it can be up and down at times, and some people may be a bit skeptical to go on vacation, but the good news is 30 minutes right out of the city, just like we mentioned. You can come down, spend the weekend with your family, and you can get just as good of a value of a vacation if you were to fly somewhere else. With that, I'll hand off to you, Josh, to touch more on our finances.
Thank you so much, Zach. As you can see here, we have a short financial outlook for the next 5 years of Farm and Flavor. We see our expenses staying quite consistent throughout those 5 years, and our revenue increasing by roughly 10% each year. This will be due to our increased customer base and just getting our name out there and our exposure. This revenue, obviously a part by our lodge and restaurant income, will also be a part by our cooking classes, our kind of extracurriculars. We also offer those horse riding lessons, as Zach touched on earlier. Hopefully, we will also have our gift shop, as well as local farmers markets, where we can sell our own merchandise, as well as merchandise or goods from other locally sourced companies around southern Minnesota. We have our 2 potential funding sources here, with the top 2 being from Pioneer Bank at a 8.5% and a $1.8 million loan, and then we'd have that FSA joint lending with Pioneer as well for that other $600,000 chunk. And then finally, for that 2.4 full option with Compeer Financial at a 6.5% interest rate. I'll hand it back over to Morgan for our closing remarks.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everyone, for your time being here. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have later at the networking event, and we can't wait to host you at Minnesota Farm and Flavor.
Well done, Minnesota Farm and Flavor team, representing Minnesota State Mankato. We'll next invite up the 3rd of the business track candidates, also from Gustavus, the Revive Rural team. So Alexia Anderson, Ava McKinney, and Lauren Coy. Come on up, Revive Rural team.
Good afternoon. We are from Gustavus Adolphus College, and my name is Alexia Anderson. I'm a business management and communication major.
My name is Ava McKinley. I'm a sophomore business management major. And I'm Lauren Coy. I'm a first-year business management major.
And one of our mottos for Revive Rural is empower, innovate, and transform, shaping tomorrow, because tomorrow is what matters. We want to create a space where students can build a community garden space to feed their local shelters. Local artists can share their crafts with welcome visitors, children can play in a sustainable splash pad, and so much more. This is the vision of Revive Rural, a transformative project that empowers multi-generation communities, stimulate local economies, and, even best, create lasting opportunities. With that, we utilize the technology of developing technology such as Gemini to create visions for us. Using AI to generate these images help visualize the concept of Revive Rural. By taking the core ideas such as pop-up markets, garden boxes, splash pads, and other small details, it helps us demonstrate what it could be. Utilizing this, we can allow stakeholders, investors, and community members to see what it can be. We can create multiple concept designs, refine them based on feedback, and make informed decisions of layout and functionality. It also serves as a powerful marketing and fundraising tool, helping people connect emotionally with a vision of a thriving, revitalized community space. Now, Ava will take it over.
This project is more than a gathering place. It's an economic powerhouse. By supporting local businesses and entrepreneurs, Revive Rural will create 50+ direct and indirect jobs in fields such as construction, market management, and event coordination, as well as providing internship and job opportunities for students in agriculture, business, and the arts. We will also support small businesses and farmers by giving them a platform to grow and connect with potential customers, as well as potential new hires.
To thrive, rural communities like St. Peter must attract young talent. Revive Rural intends to achieve this by offering career shadowing and mentorship opportunities with business owners, providing affordable, family-friendly recreation spaces such as our splash pad and art workshops, and by hosting skill-building workshops in entrepreneurship, art, business, and sustainable agriculture.
For our marketing strategies, we will leverage digital marketing and create social media pages and posters, along with other radio and television networking. As well as that, we will engage with local influencers and ambassadors. We will host launch events and community gatherings, as well as collaboration with students and faculty members. With us being located in St. Peter, we are surrounded by higher education institutions such as Gustavus Adolphus, Mankato State, Bethlehem Lutheran, and South Central.
As a group, we created 5 steps to implement Revive Rural in our community. Starting off with step 1, this is creating a secure location, fundraising, zoning, partnerships with student organizations and local businesses, as well as the Visitors Bureau to get things on the road. We will also hire an executive director at this time who will oversee the entire project. We estimate this time to take around 6 to 12 months. Moving on to step 2, this will be the initial setup of infrastructure, water systems, our garden boxes, as well as the purchasing of any needed materials. This process will be overseen by the executive director and take around 12 months. The next 12 to 18 months will be comprised of completion of the building of the site. And then step 4 would be opening the volunteer drive, hiring the full-time employees, as well as getting our interns started. And finally, step 5 is our grand opening, a big event where we will launch our full market splash pad in classes and attract people from far and wide. Moving on to our financials, our total estimated budget for this project is $3.75 to $4 million. Our 2 biggest expenses coming in at infrastructure and construction at $2 million, followed by programming engagement at $750,000. However, we are also aiming to save money in areas such as water and maintenance by creating a sustainable water recycling program. This means that our project is not only sustainable, but also affordable.
Assuming we have a $5 million grant, we have many potential funding sources that can help support Revive Rural. First, we have our endowment fund targeting $1 million. This community-driven fund will allow donors to contribute to our long-term sustainability. We'll also secure funding through grants and sponsorships by partnering with local businesses, student organizations, and sustainability-focused initiatives. Vendors such as artists and businesses will pay for space in our pop-up market, generating additional revenue. We'll host paid workshops and private event rentals to bring in extra income. But the biggest return on investment, however, will be the benefits for the entire community and the increased traffic it will bring to St. Peter and surrounding areas. Now we can take a look at our financial projections for the next 5 years. In year 1, we will focus on covering initial costs, conducting market testing, and aiming to reach our break-even point. From year 2 to 3, we enter the growth phase. During this time, we expect to see increased vendor participation and revenue from sponsorships. By years 4 and 5, we aim to achieve sustainable profitability. This will come from memberships, event rentals, and continued grant funding.
With your help, Revive Rural can become a reality. By investing in community spaces, local businesses, and sustainable initiatives, we are fostering economic growth and creating a future where rural Minnesota thrives. This is our chance to empower, innovate, and transform our community for generations to come. Thank you.
Well done, Revive Rural team. Again, that was the third of the 3 business-focused track participants. So let's give all 3 of them a round of applause before we continue. We will then change gears a little bit now to focus on the STEM track, so the technology-related track. So the first team of the finalists here, the Hops Harvester team representing Minnesota State University, with team members Allie Cruz, Anthony Brennan, Levi Ward, Kyle Kleiss, and Nim Helmariam. Come on up, team Hops Harvester.
Hi, I'm Allie Cruz.
I'm Anthony Brennan.
I'm Levi Ward.
Kyle Kleiss.
And I'm Nahom Helmariam.
And our team is part of the Mechanical Engineering Department here at Minnesota State University, Mankato. And we're presenting to you the hop harvester machine called the Hopinator. I know that when I walk into a brewery, I love getting my IPA beers. And it's all about that hoppy taste that really elevates the profile for me. So whether you like a stout, pilsner, lager, what they all have in common is the hops that help brew the beer. And where it all begins is the farmers who grow and harvest these hops to help brew your favorite beer.
With that being said, there's been an increase in microbreweries throughout Minnesota and the Midwest, and that produces a higher demand for hop farmers, and that brings us to our issue. All this equipment to harvest the hops, it's very expensive, upwards of like $40,000 to $50,000 for some of these mechanisms, and we aim to make a cheaper version of that. These farmers are out picking tons of hop cones off of the vines and long 10-hour days for weeks at a time. And as you can imagine, their hands probably get pretty tired.
So with this real problem, we're here to present our real solution. So we designed a hop harvester that is affordable for hobby farmers in mind, and some of the key components that it utilizes are a stripping reel, unistrut framing, which allows for adjustability and modularity to the user, a cluster buster, a stripper motor for driving the components, and a conveyor belt, which helps move the hops and debris to future air sorters. So another key component is the take-up bearings. The take-up bearings are very important as there are different hop configurations where hops can come in different sizes and shapes, and these take-up bearings allow for adjustable height difference between our stripping reels, which allow for modularity in our system to accommodate for the different hop configurations. It also allows for repair and fixing any tangles that might occur in the stripping reels when the vines are being fed through.
The next component is the hop stripper reels themselves, and these are 2 identical reels, as you can see, and they spin in opposite directions. And the purpose of these reels is to strip all the hop cones
and any debris off of the binds, entering it into the sorting system.
The cluster buster. So hops usually grow in clusters like grapes. So we develop this. Sometimes they don't break down like how we want it. So we develop this part so the clusters are broken down properly and before landing onto the conveyor.
These are the two working models of conveyor belts that we have in our possession. For the purposes of our CAD design, we are using the one on the left. The conveyor belt collects the debris and the hop cones from the cluster buster and transports them to our external air sorter. This is the CAD representation of our external air sorter, so working prototype. It consists of a mesh barrel that the hops and debris are put into from the conveyor belt. The barrel spins, and on the inside of the barrel is a helical fin that pushes the hop cones and the debris further down the barrel. At the bottom of the barrel is a mesh cone with a fan inside. The fan creates suction. It pulls the debris up onto the cone where a brush brushes it off out a separate exit, and the hop cones fall through holes at the bottom of the barrel into a collection basket, thereby separating the debris from our final product.
The impact that this product has is a 650% increase, going from 4 to 30 binds per hour. In addition, it also supports the local farmers and businesses. Currently, the commercial farms are mostly out in California, so by putting this product into the market, it will help expand this industry into the Midwest.
In terms of implementation, we are currently in the product development stage right now, currently working on our prototype, and we plan on testing here pretty soon and then moving on to larger scale manufacturing.
As for resources, we've been working closely with the mechanical engineering department, our project manager, and local hop farmers. And we've been using Creo Parametric as our modeling software to design the 3D models. And to develop our prototype, we've been trying to use parts from easily accessible stores. So each unit is priced at about $10,000, with the cost of goods sold being $5,500, based on and the estimated production time was about 2 weeks for each unit.
There were several challenges that we had in mind when we started the design for this project. The top 5 most important ones we've listed here for you. The first being the cost constraints. As we mentioned before, the initial costs for getting into this industry is too high for hobby farmers to justify, so they had to resort to picking by hand. We offer a cheaper alternative. The second being maintenance and repairability. We sourced all of our parts locally, so they should be easily replaceable for maintenance purposes. Third was ergonomics and operator comfort. All of our moving parts are at eye level, and so that results in the operator being able to use the machine in a standing position, which relieves stress from the neck and body and joints, and should really make this a lot easier for the farmers. The fourth is scalability. Our modular design is easily scaled up or down for small to medium-sized farms. And safety. Our fifth is safety, most important, one would argue. Our machine meets all applicable OSHA safety standards, including firm guarding around all of the moving parts and easily accessible emergency stop switches.
The Hoppinator displays a substantial increase in efficiency while also being cost-friendly to farmers. So we're able to scale this product. So by doing this, we can also scale this product, not just from Minnesota, but to regional sales. So let's stop having these farmers hurt their hands while they're hand picking, and let's harvest smarter, not harder, when we hop into the next season.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you to the Hops Harvester team. Next up, the second of the STEM or technology track focus teams, the LoraNet team, also from Minnesota State Mankato, with Annalise Nano, Nahum Amde, and Cameron Freitag. LoraNet team, come on up. Quick battery swap there. Now they're on their way. There you go.
Hello, we are LoraNet. We are all seniors from Minnesota State University, Mankato. I'm Cameron, a computer engineering major.
I'm Nahum. I'm also a computer engineering major.
And my name is Annalise, an electrical engineering major. Have you ever been on a run or on a hike or in the middle of a farm and you had terrible data or no Wi-Fi? Imagine a solution where even in the most remote of areas, you had access to connectivity. Well, that solution is LoraNet.
So, what is LoraNet? LoraNet is an open source, free to use network that we've designed.
LoraNet is our solution to a private network that allows farmers to manage their resources and monitor their data remotely. It will hopefully increase productivity of farms. The importance of smart farming is to increase the efficiency of the farms so that they can produce more product and do more at once. Our vision is to give them an affordable, private, sustainable network that allows them to have as much data and monitor it as they need.
So let's go behind the scenes of how LoraNet works.
So, LoraNet is open source and free to use. When we started our project, this was very important to us to give our customers a free to use open source solution, but that also gives us transparency. That means you can go and take a look at the source code to make sure that we're not taking your data anywhere we're not supposed to take it, and you can have comfort knowing that you know everything that's going on in your data. LoraNet is also encrypted. That means when you send a message to say if I'm sending a message to Annalise, I can be sure that only Annalise can see the message and decrypt it, and no other people can see your private information. At LoraNet, we design and manufacture our hardware in-house. This saves us a lot of cost and makes us able to sell our hardware at a more affordable price. So right now, we have two options for hardware. The first will be a handheld device. It has a touchscreen. It's kind of like your phone. You can be able to send text messages to it. You can see how your farm is doing. You can monitor your crops or track your animals. And then the other one are small router nodes. I can show you a small example. These are tiny, tiny routers. Basically, you embed them across your farm. And how they work is they play like a big game of telephone. So for example, I want to send a text message to Annalise here, but we're too far away. Say we're like in a 100-acre farm or something like that. These nodes are solar powered, and we will embed them across our farm, and they will message and forward what I want to say to Annalise or whoever my target is. As for powering solutions, our processors are not like traditional cell phones or laptops. We use microcontrollers which have high power, low power consumption and high usage rate. So what that would mean is for our routers, we're using solar nodes. So our idea is you have to install once and you wouldn't have to worry about charging it or replacing the battery for about 6 months to a year. So that gives you long fixed solution to your networking problems. And then the really exciting part of our network is how easy it is to use. So for example, say you have a 10-acre farm, you wouldn't need as many nodes to connect your whole farm area, but then you want to expand the network to 20 acres, 40 acres, or even 100 acres. All you'll have to do is put more nodes in, and they will identify and know each other automatically, so farmers or whoever is using this would not need to have any technical knowledge on how to set up the network.
Going from a more technical side of things, let's see some of the features and benefits of our product.
So LoraNet is all things remote. With it, you're able to track your cattle or your equipment, or even activate devices at a distance. For example, imagine you're in bed and you're laying all comfortable and snugly, and you're disturbed by your one open door. I know we all hate that. Well, with LoRaNet, if that door is connected to the network, at the push of a button, you're able to close it and problem solved. Another application when it comes to farming would be using underground sensors. So we all know that for good sustainable farming, you need good soil, hence why farmers work hand in hand with agronomists. They will usually go around collecting data on moisture levels or temperature and all of those stuff. Well, with LoRaNet, that data comes to them through the nodes onto that handheld device. So we essentially make the life of your agronomist easier. But the best part, you can stay connected off the grid. So if you want to have a farmhouse, for example, you can implement LoRaNet in that farmhouse and still activate your lights, still activate your security, still test for temperatures, and all of the things that come with the benefits of smart houses, but you are not connected to Wi-Fi, so you are still off the grid. Finally, LoRaNet is low cost and compact. Currently, the solutions offered in the world of agriculture are satellites or cellular. Satellites are way too big and way too expensive, and cellular doesn't reach the remote areas we always want them to reach. Well, LoRaNet is the best of both worlds. It is both affordable and long range.
So, LoRaNet is free to use. However, we have implemented several revenue streams to help our project.
Our main revenue stream is selling the nodes and the handheld devices themselves so that you can have your own custom-sized network to your specific farm. So if you need, say, 20 nodes for however much land you have, we can sell you that exact amount.
And another big part of our revenue would come from installation and consultation services. So if you did decide to go with our network, one of our engineers would come to your site. We'd make sure that all our network hardware is installed correctly, everything is working before we hand you the keys and tell you you're good to go. But other than that, maybe you're not interested in what we have currently, or it's not up to par with your application. As engineers, we will offer consultation services, so we can come to you, maybe scope out your land, see what you need, and we can design custom hardware, custom software for your project needs.
The growth potential in this market is huge because essentially in the world of agriculture, this is untapped technology. Hence why we have stirred interest with local ag tech startups. Currently, we have worldwide capabilities as well. And what we mean by that, while Cameron is from Minnesota, Nahom is Ethiopian and I am Belgian. And we still see applications in all areas of the world because you can recreate the system anywhere and have your own private network in any country. So think beyond the US, think beyond Mankato. We are at the forefront of this worldwide movement where we can now bring connectivity to even the most remote of places.
So join us in a low-cost, sustainable network
for the industry that is the backbone of our economy.
Investing in LoRaNet is investing in a better world. Thank you.
Thank you to the LoRaNet team. Well done. Last but not least, the last of our 3 STEM candidates and the last of all 6 for our finalists today, the Open Soil team from Minnesota State Mankato, made up of Max Ritter and Gozel Ramianova. Sorry about that, Gozel. Bring them up to the stage as our final competition entry. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Max, and I want to give a special thanks to everyone here to see our presentation, and an extra special thanks to Dr. Jake Swanson and Dr. Beth Fisher for all the help that they've given us.
My name is Gozel Rahmajanova, and we are very excited to share with you our innovative technology and its potential. Together, we are Open Soil. Open Soil is focused around studying soil health. Soil health is the foundation of agriculture, and it supports our economy, local economy, secures our food supply, and plays a vital role in maintaining a healthy environment. But soil health is under threat. We are seeing widespread degradation. declining productivity across farmlands, and loss of topsoil. Poor soil conditions don't just impact crops, it affects our local communities and economies that depend on them. Therefore, addressing this issue is not optional, it's essential. One of the most powerful ways to assess soil health is through gases trapped within it. Soil is not just dirt, it's a living, dynamic system, teeming with microbial activity, chemical reactions, and layered complexity. Each of these layers contain gases that serve as a chemical signal of soil's condition. If we can read those signals, we can better understand what's happening below the surface. Thus, soil health, soil gases are very important for soil health. And soil gas is a hidden language of soil health. And Open Soil has a tool to listen to them. Let's go over some specifics of those gases and their impact. First of all, methane forms in oxygen-free environment, signal poor aeration and decay. High levels of it indicate anaerobic condition, which is hindering to microbial activity. Carbon dioxide levels as indication of microbial respiration. High levels of it indicate poor aeration again and overcompaction. Ammonia gas shows us how much nitrogen in the soil. It's a key ingredient for plant growth. High levels of it shows us active microbial nitrogen cycle, while excessive levels of it can be toxic, and it can occur if the soil is over-fertilized. Oxygen levels show us how well soil breathes, with low levels meaning that the field is over-compacted or waterlogged, or it's low microbial activity. Monitoring these gases allows farmers and researchers to assess soil health and to make better decisions, informed decisions about farming practices. Taking this data in real time allows us to diagnose invisible problems early and accurately. This is the core technical strength of our approach.
This is the tool that we built to unlock this information, the Open Soil Sensor System. Developed over 3 years by teams of real student engineers right here at Mankato, it is weatherproof, wirelessly connected, and solar powered. It is designed to measure multiple gases at different depths and to be left in the field all season long. No need for recharging and no need for manual data download. It's truly a set and forget technology. Unlike existing tools that take a single reading at a single moment in time, our sensor system continually collects data over time, truly unlocking the dynamic nature of living soil. This system is modular, customizable, and most importantly, open source, allowing any of our users to build upon it, adapt it to their specific needs, and integrate it into their farming schedule. This tool is built for farmers, researchers, and innovators. With the open soil system in the field, farmers will gain a deeper insight faster and more accurately into their soil conditions. Instead of wondering when and where to fertilize, they will have data to inform their decisions. Instead of reacting to crop failure, they can proactively work to prevent it. On the broader scale, our system will accelerate sustainable practices by scientifically proving the effectiveness of novel agricultural techniques. Our understanding of the soil ecosystem will be greatly expanded and open the door for further agricultural innovation. It is about making the land more productive while reducing costs and reducing harms to the soil that feeds us. Open Soil will be launching in Lanesboro, Minnesota, a rural community in the southeast corner of the state. As a 501c4 nonprofit, we are solely focused on deploying our sensors, refining the technology, and analyzing the vast amount of data that we will collect with our dedicated research branch. In year one, we will distribute our sensors for free. This early deployment will generate lots of data, help us establish farmer relationships, and give us good insight to make the case for future sales and long-term sustainability. Within 5 years, we will establish an open access soil gas database, freely available to farmers, researchers, and any interested parties. We will create guidelines to interpret this data so that all users can make informed decisions without the need of experts. Our sensor division will become self-sustaining and continue to sell, manufacture, and supply the open source hardware necessary for our sensor system, resulting in long-term, high-tech jobs in a rural community. While we are starting in Minnesota, the technology and insights are globally relevant. It is our long-term vision to empower data-driven agriculture wherever we can find soil.
We believe this is a turning point. With the right tools, we can transform how we care for our soil, improve our yields, secure our ecosystem, and strengthen rural communities. Let's make this change together. Thank you.
Thank you to the Open Soil team. Let's give another round of applause to our business track, the AgriPath Academy team, the Minnesota Farm and Flavor, and Revive Rural. First of all, Revive Rural. And the 3 finalists for our STEM or technology track, Hops Harvester, Loronet, and Open Soil. We will now excuse our judges for their deliberations to identify the award winners, top awards in each of the categories. So judges may be dismissed for their discussion. While they are deliberating here, just a little bit more background as far as what this FutureSolvers Cultivation Challenge has entailed. The students obviously are well aware of the process that's been here, but throughout the month of December up through mid-January, students from a number of higher education institutions, I think there were 6 or 7 different institutions through basically the southern Minnesota region, that submitted various applications to be involved with the competition. They were given the scenario, of course, to find a solution to. Then they put together and submitted a written proposal and a short video relative to that proposal, kind of a brief pitch that they could give as a first round opportunity. And again, based on all of those pitches, we identified the top 3 project proposals in each of the two categories. Obviously, we had 3 finalists identified for each of the tracks, and they are here today and have just presented the proposals that they have shared with you. So we're excited to see how this has grown and developed over the last year plus since the first edition, so to speak, of the FutureSolvers Challenge. And we're excited to see where it goes from here. So without further ado, and hopefully you saw this in the program and have been paying attention, because at this point, the time we've been waiting for is upon us to identify the People's Choice Award. So get out your device, scan the QR code as shown, and you have 2 minutes, so you got to do it quick, 2 minutes to enter your vote for one of the 6 teams, just one vote, for one of the 6 teams to give your People's Choice Award vote. So I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. Please make sure you enter your vote, and we'll be sharing who that award winner is here momentarily. So you've got 2 minutes to vote for your favorite idea of the afternoon. You can only vote for one idea. Please vote now. right, I didn't look at my watch, but I think it's been about appropriate time. So if you're still needing to vote, please do it quickly. But we're going to go ahead and proceed with the program. We have a few minutes break, again, while the judges continue their deliberations. You've already met Sam Ziegler, so we'll invite Sam again to the stage, along with DQ Spencer. Dr. Spencer, are you here somewhere? So Sam and DQ have been part of what's called the State of Ag Report, presented through GreenSeam, prepared on behalf of GreenSeam for our regional and even global agricultural economy. So we had a very strong group on campus, which Dr. Spencer was part of, that has been working on this report over the last several months. It was just released, was it last week, Tuesday, a week and a half ago? We held the release event up at the University of Minnesota St. Paul campus. And so we've asked Dr. Spencer and Sam to talk through a little bit about some of the findings of this State of Ag report as prepared. So with that, we'll turn a few minutes over to DQ and Sam. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, and congrats, students, that you presented. That's you guys did an amazing job, and you can tell you worked really hard at it. So looking forward to seeing the winners up on stage here shortly. But the State of Ag report is really to fill a gap and a need that was out there. When you look at the full ecosystem of food and ag, the data is not captured. Often you see data specific about farms or specific about manufacturing or industry in other shapes. And this survey and focus groups was really shaped at trying to pull all that stuff together. But before we get into some of the data, just wanted some to have a little bit of background that came from our Minnesota Department of Ag Commissioner, just so you kind of understand the scope of the farms, but think about it in a bigger vision of how it ripples through our state economy. When we're looking at the state, we have about 65,000 farms, okay? That's made up of crops, livestock, and a variety of different components to that. We're generating that $105 billion a year. And that's, I don't think, a complete ripple effect through all what we see in our economy, but that's how the data is measured. And then you could break it down by the livestock and the crop sectors to realize it has a major impact in our state. Often, typically, you'll say 25% of Minnesota state GDP is from food and agriculture. And then often when you think about agriculture, you think of crops, you think of livestock. And so I just wanted to have these out that we have some that are really key and we're the #1 state in, but also the variety of crops and animals and livestock that we have in our state goes maybe beyond what you even normally think. Sugar beets, turkeys, peas, sweet corn, we're the #1 state for those crops, those things. So you can think about the pea processing and sweet corn harvesting to the farmer's land that affects. And then turkeys, especially when you think of the largest consumption time of year around Thanksgiving is that, but they're growing here and they're processed here and sold around the U.S. and the world. While we are #2 in hogs, it definitely has a bigger impact than most of them. Our swine and hog industry, farmers that are here, make a huge impact from the production standpoint through processing right here in our state. And then there's things you don't think about, especially being in southern Minnesota. You don't think about we're #2 in wild rice or dry edible beans or spring wheat, but across our state, that's where we rank. And so you can kind of see these additional ones, but some that often aren't thought about is when you think about renewable fuels, our production of ethanol. We are the 5th leading state. There's about 17 ethanol plants just across here, southern Minnesota, that make a big economic impact. But okay, so that's enough recapping of that. We'll bring DQ into this and we'll have a conversation about the State of Ag survey and work. And we'll kick this off with the background that DQ did with focus groups.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to interview 8 or 9 focus groups and just really get a lot of data. Of course, I had that opportunity to do that 3 years in a row. So I had, looking at the data, I could see many trends. And honestly, looking at the FutureSolvers and the cultivating and looking at the projects that you guys did, a lot of these projects really addresses some of those main concerns. So it's good to see that the future is really taking initiative and engaging to help solve business problems. Within these focus groups, we utilized the data, we paired it with survey data, and we were able to create a report right here. The report is pretty inclusive, and it has a lot of information that I think is very, very relevant to today's agricultural environment.
One of the big things in the focus groups that was talked about extensively is the whole human capital portion. And it's not, one of the challenges that we have in food and ag is it's not just one position. There's so many positions and so many variety in food and ag across our region. But that is one of the number one challenges. And so you can kind of see from the slide, you know, that it was the largest conversation, and it continues to be. And part of that reason is if you look at our state demographics, that until 2035, we're going to see more retirements and more aging out of work than we're going to see the youth coming into the workplace. And so it's going to continue to be one of our top challenges.
And, you know, secondly, I'm looking at my notes here. AgriPath, who is a group of AgriPath, they're in here. Great job on that. So human capital, labor, you guys create pipelines. My background's in HR, and I love that, right? I love the ability to help businesses and organizations not only plan for the present, but they can plan for the future when they know they got that talent pipeline coming in. Great job.
So other part of the conversation is when we look at rural economies and rural communities, and you think about what's the businesses that are there? Where did they come from? Where's their history? And you'll often find, whether you look in Mankato or you look in other communities, that it was somebody that came up with the idea that started it locally. They might have had an acquisition or a merger or a name change, but there's often a connection back to somebody that started that business there. Sometimes we get lucky and a business moves into a community and says, hey, this is a perfect fit for me, but often it started right there. And so if we think about how does communities support entrepreneurship, how does businesses support other, you know, startup businesses, it's a key component to the vitality of rural communities. And this was a topic that was brought up. So when we go into those focus groups, DQ, maybe just describe, like, because we didn't just come up with these and ask them about them. We asked them what they thought.
Yeah, so the focus groups, we're trying to generate organic conversation, organic discussions around several semi-structured interview questions. And the fact that these are the most protruding questions it says a lot to what you guys are doing. You guys are actually listening to the environment, listening to the businesses, and really creating good solutions. So for instance, something like entrepreneurship innovation, looking at farm flavor, great job, guys, great job. They actually have solutions built in that will solve many things. So the first thing I saw, obviously I love pancakes, good job. But they have a way to attract individuals and attract people to that community, right? That's one of the biggest things we were hearing. If you can create an entrepreneurial type business that's very innovative and you attract people to see the community, fall in love with the community, then they're gonna live in that community, which will in turn increase that pipeline, increase that human capital. Great job.
When thinking about the entrepreneurship, one of the challenges though is within it is the community, or as you as an individual, or as your business really support them. And that's the hard part of, because not all entrepreneurs are successful their first go run, but how does the community support not their first run, but their second run, because they're taking risks trying to create something. And there's some concern there if our communities are really willing to embrace failure as a part of growing success.
Yeah, I agree. Failure is always part of the process to getting it right? And looking at that, most entrepreneurs aren't gonna be successful at their very first attempt. And that's okay, because that helps you learn what to do better and it helps you grow. So, great point.
So when you think about what was said in the focus groups and you think about the conversation today, you know, one thing I was hoping everybody would take away is how do we all better embrace those challenges and help those succeed at that, because it will have a ripple effect.
I agree. Yeah. Yep. So we also, like I said, we combined it with the survey. How many people do we have in that survey? Yeah.
It was close to 300.
300. This is great because it provides a quantitative side for our analysis. The focus groups were more of the qualitative, surveys more of the quantitative. It allowed us to get a wide scope and wide range of what's going on and a lot of data very quickly. So.
And thanks to Dr. Steve Formanek that was behind that work. So one of the things that we measure annually is what is businesses seeing for growth and for the future year, and how did they do in the past year? And we've asked this question for a number of years now, and it's kind of interesting to look on how close they were, or how some years there was much more growth or much more decline than what was really originally anticipated. And so when we take this snapshot in time, we're taking it from January into February each year. So give that, put that in your back of mind that every January-ish, we're polling people and asking them for their insights. So, this year, if you take a look back, you can look at what was going on. We were having a new president coming in. We were in the middle of a couple global conflicts. In this region specifically, we had some good production of crop, but we also had some tough weather-related events in this region, and you can kind of see some of those things come up and why some of the reasons might not have been predictable either.
Yeah, kind of like what Sam mentioned on it. It kind of plays on the state of the environment and the amount of risk. So when they're doing the surveys and the focus groups, we're at a state where it's a lot of risk, a lot of uncertainty. And that really does manipulate the data a little bit, right? Because if we're in a different environment, then we'll have different information. But I love the way that a lot of the data from the focus group and the survey kind of validated each other. So it makes the data more reliable.
One of the things to look at for this year is what percent of businesses are going to grow. And while it might be lower at that 56, 57% in 2025 of projected growth, that's still over half our businesses are anticipating growth this year. So it is definitely less than what we've seen back in 2022 or 2023, but yet it is over half our businesses are looking to grow this next year. On the decline side, there is some concern of decline on this over here in this corner, and I think that matches up what some of the concerns are. Some of the things that we learned in the focus groups, but also from the survey, is the continuing rise of costs. And it's not just one thing, it's a little bit notch up in everything. It's costs of employees, it's costs of supply chain, it's costs of implementing new regulations that our state has put upon us. It's all those components coming together turned into be one of the number one concerns this year, was strictly just the overall, how do you manage as a business to continue adding on? It's not that 3% increase cost, it's 10 different things that they're all a 3% cost increase that really you have to figure out how to deal with.
Yeah, and interesting thing about that, Sam, is that, again, I've had the opportunity to do the focus groups for the last 3 years or so, and this was the first year where this was as relevant as it was, right? So some type of event is creating disruption in the environment, in the political sense, in the agribusiness sense, where it's creating this high level of uncertainty, and it's really affecting our stake and shareholders.
Let's talk about DQ's favorite topic. Internships, talent, that component is a big part of the survey of seeing what businesses are doing so we can share it with students and what's out there, but also to take and be able to benchmark between businesses so they can compare themselves to what the averages are out there.
Yeah, so the internships in the focus group turned out to be one of the most valuable way to recruit students. Also, I'm a huge believer on internships, right? I always tell my students, keep doing internships because you're gonna find out what you don't wanna do before you know what you wanna do, right? Since you're young, everybody tells you you can do anything you want. You can, which is probably not true. There's a lot of stuff that I can't do, right? But everybody tells you you can do anything you want, but really find out what you can't do, what you don't wanna do, and that will definitely help you for your career. And also me, HR background, 90% of my employment outside of MSU, I worked for agribusiness, right? So I worked for companies that do an HR. When people think of agribusiness, you have to really think of what it is. Everything has agribusinesses, like real estate agents, universities, not just farmers, right? Marketing, sales, HR, all that is involved in agribusiness, and it's an extremely valuable and growing industry that we really need to make our stake and get a hold of that industry.
I think one thing to point out for many of you students in here is when you look at one of the number one challenges of businesses with internship programs is this one right here, obtaining qualified applicants. And I think there's a couple things to point out in that. Often we in our careers look at how we paying our bills and who's going to pay us the best, right? Sometimes an internship might not be the highest paid, but are you trying to set yourself up for today, or are you trying to set yourself up for tomorrow? And I think that's a key indicator that the number one challenge employers are having is having students apply to their internships. I didn't put it up here in the chart, but it's in the full booklet. It's $15 to $19 an hour is the average internship pay that we receive survey data from. There was one company that did pay over $25 an hour for their internship. So be looking, be applying, and just like you would if you go buy a car, you're not just going to go hand the person money and drive it out the driveway. You're going to give it a test drive. You can test drive when you're in college. You start test driving after college, your resume looks pretty poor.
It looks very funny.
So think about that. The other part of this that's not up there is how do we get more businesses to have internships, and how do we connect the resources to that. And so Green Seam's looking at doing some programming related to that, because there's a lot of businesses that don't have internships because they're not sure how to do it and do it right to get a good experience for the students and a good experience for the business. It's got to be a mutual benefit. It can't just be, let you do everything fun you want and not do paper sorting, but at the same time, you can't just have you paper sorting the whole time, because what do you learn from it? So there's that conversation. It's got to be a balanced conversation.
Yeah, and this isn't in HR form right now, but again, with total rewards, kind of what Sam was talking about, don't just look at the wage, right? So I tell my students, look at the total rewards. Look at the benefits, look at the autonomy, look at your supervisor, look at the environment, look at the time off, look at the holidays, look at all that. Like, that's why it's called total rewards, right? Look at all that. And don't just say, okay, this one makes $2 an hour more, but when you look at everything, with benefits, time off, flexibility, autonomy, you're probably losing $7, $8 an hour by taking that $2 an hour job, so.
I think this is the last one left. This was some of the key insights that came from the survey data that kind of lead the top. And I'm not going to read through each one because you can read faster than I'm talking. But there's a number of opportunities out there. There's a number of challenges out there. When we get into the whole conversation of the policy and the regulation, there's a whole section on that of what is limiting some of our growth of our companies, and how they're being utilized and what they're being utilized for. The technology, it continues to be a leading effort, yet we're seeing gaps in the data around cybersecurity. Maybe isn't looked at with a higher number of percentage of companies as we expected. And the last is looking ahead. There is long-term resilience that we have in our businesses here. We've seen it grow, whether you go through number of recessions, this region of the U.S., because of food and ag is a necessity and not a luxury. We continue to grow our economy in this region.
Yeah, I just want to, my last part is, I believe it was the first group made the statement that agriculture isn't dying, it's evolving, right? So as a future and as future agriculturalists, I don't know if that's real, but that's what I'm going to say.
Sounds like a good word.
Yep, sounds good. Keep doing what you guys are doing. Keep coming to these events, keep preparing information, keep learning, keep growing.
So if you want to see the full report on the State of Ag report, please go ahead and use that QR code. You can also find it on our website. And the release we did just last week on National Ag Day. And so if you want to watch the Minnesota Department of Ag Commissioner hear his address, the Canadian Consulate General out of Minneapolis talked about the relationship and trade with food and agriculture in Canada and tariffs. You can watch, that's a part of it, as well as the full presentation from Dr. DQ Spencer and Dr. Steve Formanek, and the great assistant, I can't see it out there, but Megan Cumming was actually a part of that. There you are, Megan, was a part of that as well. So thank you for doing that, and thanks MSU for being our research team on that project and work. With that, I think I'm going to wrap it up because I think I've seen more important people that stepped into the room that you're more interested in hearing from. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Aaron Budge.
Thank you, DQ and Sam, for that update on the State of Ag report. Appreciate their time both in preparing and sharing that with us today. We would also like to take a minute to give a special welcome to President Bergman from Gustavus Adolphus College joining us online. So wave to President Bergman Appreciate the participation from the Gustavus team. So thank you for being here and watching this today. Moment of truth. We're going to start with the People's Choice Award. So just a few minutes ago, you all voted on your favorite presentations. It's time to first of all reveal the results of that vote, the winner of both the $500 Launch Minnesota Tech Forward bonus prize and the People's Choice winner. So we're going to start with the People's Choice Award winner. A $500 prize, so nothing to snuff about here. $500 to the People's Choice Award, and that People's Choice Award is going to the Lauranet team. Lauranet, come on down. Congratulations to Lauranet. We got to get a picture, of course, in front of the massive check. Again, a $500 prize for the People's Choice Award recipients. Very good. Give them another round of applause. The second special award is the Launch Minnesota Tech Forward bonus prize. Another $500 check available. And this Tech Forward bonus prize goes to the Hops Harvester team. Hops Harvester crew, come on out. Congratulations. Either direction. A little less elevation change if you go through the back. Saving energy. Very good. Congratulations, Hops Harvester. Before we announce the rest of our winners, we need to take a moment to say thank you to a few important folks. Dr. Boyer, here hiding in the back, of course.
I got the checks.
He's got the checks. He's the important one. So Shane is the one that kind of started this over 2 years ago. Well, a year and a half ago or so. Put a proposal into the Green Team Futures crew and had been involved with some other things to be able to open the door for this competition at that point, and it has grown. So we're excited to have him. Thank you for getting it started, Shane. We also need to recognize, and several of them are in the audience, so Casey Lamont, Tammy Bolke, Ashley Niss is behind the scenes. She's probably here behind the stage. Sam Ziegler, you've already met. And Carrie Jo Henderson, one of our students, has been helping with this development throughout the process. So thank you to each of those individuals. And a huge thank you to some of the financial supporters that make this possible. We have some even larger checks coming our way here momentarily. So we want to appreciate again Launch Minnesota for providing significant financial support along with the Green Team Futures team. The congressional district funding that we received at Minnesota State University through the Main Street Businesses Focused on Food and Agriculture initiative. So each of these groups has provided some financial opportunities to support this, which is what is resulting with these checks available to these fantastic student projects. So thank you to those groups. Without further ado, we will start with the business track with the third place team. So check here for $2,000 for this team. The winner of the third place business track is the AgriPath team. AgriPath, come on up. Congratulations. Again, a $2,000 prize, so congratulations to AgriPath. Similarly, the third place for the STEM track or the technology track. Third place, again, check it for $2,000, goes to the Open Soil team. Open Soil, come on up. It was probably a lot longer walk the first time around, right? It's pretty exciting you get up there pretty quick. Congratulations, Open Soil. Second place, starting with the business track, a $4,000 check coming to this team. So the second place team on the business track going to the Revive Rural team. Revive Rural, come on up. Congratulations. Second place within the STEM track, the technology track. Again, a $4,000 check to this team. Laurinette, come on up. There they are. Congratulations, Laurinette. You're a bright audience. By virtue of elimination, we know who the first place recipients are. But first place in the business track, going to the Minnesota Farm and Flavor team. Come on up, Minnesota Farm and Flavor. A $6,000 check to these teams. Look at the camera. There we go. All right, congratulations. And last but certainly not least, from the STEM track, the Hops Harvester team also receiving a $6,000 check. Hops Harvesters, congratulations. This has been an outstanding event. Thank you again to the teams that have participated over the last several months. We appreciate your interest and your investment in time and effort to make this happen. We appreciate all of the community members that have been here today. Appreciate your support. Appreciate the judges again for taking time away from their positions to be here to help us out today. All of those that have been involved with organizing this throughout the process. We'll now be hosting a networking reception just one floor up in CSU 253, room 253. You can go upstairs on either side of the auditorium here, up one level. All of you are welcome to join for some connecting, some networking time, some refreshments. So we appreciate you being here. And with that, our event concludes today. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations again. More pictures upstairs for the team, so make sure you go upstairs to the reception.